And look, we have video. Microphone's a little awkward still, but I think it's working, which is more than I could say yesterday. This is using the Live Gamer HD2. It magically started working. So, is anybody there? Got audio, music, everything going correctly? I know! I took it out, I put it into the other PCI slot, it didn't do anything. I put it back into the original one, powered up the system, and there it was. I mean, I have it outputting to a monitor that's not being used right now, so I don't know, but it's working. That's connected to the Live Gamer. It's a little awkward because the cable's not very long, so I can't maneuver this camera very well. But we should be able to see the workspace pretty good. And I'll have the webcams going too, so it's not going to be perfect, but you'll be able to see most of what I'm doing, I think. Actually, the first thing I got to do is I said I was going to show the case. I know, Nick, you don't have a ton of time to sit around and watch, but we'll try to get through the case real fast and then get into the actual build. But yeah, we're up. We're operational. I think it looks good. I think my mic working correctly is going to be very helpful. Hopefully there's no audio desync as time goes on. If it starts to desync, just let me know because I can try and figure out what's going on, but hopefully it stays in sync. I hope. But yeah. We're back, so I guess we could stop. Stop this. My nose. So the whole reason I wanted to be able to use this is because I can move this mic up into different positions. And you guys be able to see, and me be able to talk and be able to hear. If you hear stuff falling, it's because I'm trying to move the Dell monitor out of the way so that I could see the monitor that has chat on it. But, alright, let's get this case up here. I went to the store and got some of this because I need to clean off my CPU. There, that's better. Let me get this cable out of the way. So when I moved the tower, I found a bunch of stuff that it was a little unsightly to me, but whatever. So it's largely the same. This is the Phanteks Evolv X. It's largely the same as the Enthu Evolv with some little differences. First off is this panel. Let me shut. Which one is this? Let me shut that one off for now just so you can see a little better. actually. Let's just do that for now. So this panel is much easier to remove because it has these that clip into the bottom, but then you'll see they've got LED strips in the front. That's part of their addressable lighting. Now the thing I like about this case, much more than the one I have now, also magnetic dust filter, much nicer. But this, that is my favorite part, because now I could just pop this open and get in, and then it just hinges closed. This is my favorite part of this case, the way they did these doors. And then I know they slide off, but I don't know how much effort it takes. But there, yeah, see? There, doors off. We're just going to put that in the case for now. So it does the same thing on the other side. So thumb screws right in here. Better be good. There's not going to be any room over here. The thing though, see how this is wobbling now? That's something that will happen if this door swings open. So that's something to be mindful of. But again, these thumb screws are what hold the door on. But again, this one's really stuck. This door is really stuck on here. Come on, come on, come on. Just a little bit more. There we go. All right, so doors are off. And now for some more stuff that I like. This goes like this. That clips open. So there's your cable management area. Right inside here. Let me turn that just a little bit. But yeah, cable management right in here. You've got 3 spots for SSD sleds. And then you've got another one down here, again, for, these are for SSDs as well. You can mount them directly on here. And this is toolless. They just pop on here. The downside to this is you're going to run into issues where you have to watch the SATA cables. So just be wary of that. But then just clip shut, and all of this is now hidden away. So I really like what they did there. It's just a little awkward to open, that's all. But so that's kind of where you hide all your cables. It's where you can hide your SSDs, or you could show them in the back, leave them out in the open, and no big deal. And again, nothing real fancy about the back. It's just the back of the case, but it does offer vertical mounting for your graphics card. I'm not going to do that, and I wouldn't typically advise doing that unless you are doing some sort of water cooling where you're going to have a water block on there, because otherwise you're just going to choke the graphics card. Pre-installed with 3 fans, which is nice. And actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I actually start building is I'm going to put something in. I know you want to be, but it's kind of a mess right now. So just relax. Because I can't put you right over here. There's no way. Dude, you don't even know. I'm gonna have on the top here a 360 millimeter radiator with fans. I'm gonna try and do push pull. Um, and another thing I like that they did with this case is how easy this is to pop off. So this just slides back, and now you can get in, and this tray up top here, you take these two thumb screws out, and this whole bracket comes out. This whole bracket pulls out, and you could just screw your radiator in right away and just drop it back in. You don't have to do anything too fancy. So more thumb screws. I think these are captive as well. Yeah. So this just pops out. Screw the radiator on. You're good to go. Drop it back in. Screw it back in, and now you're good to go. But first, we need to do this. Now, this case is going to be a little challenging in the sense that I have these addressable LED strips. I'm not sure how I'm going to make them work in here because it doesn't have a channel along the front like it does, but that's because this little piece here has lighting with it. So that's going to be something I figure out, which means I actually don't know how I want to orient this. They might fit up here and then through the front, but then they're going to hit that. So that's not really going to work either. I'll have to figure out those LED strips at some point. I'm going to have to do it before. Whoa, what am I knocking over? Oh, my Xbox controller. These, again, with the way these doors work, I mean, I could line it across here, but that's going to be really insane. Unless I could get it in. See, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do the LED strips yet. That's going to be a complicated thing. They didn't really make this for LED strips. Either way, this is the Phanteks Halos digital RGB fan frame. It's really nice, actually. So I might just orientate this so that this goes through back here somewhere, because they have some stuff pre-installed. So I may just do it like this. But I want to do this now because it's going to be a pain in the butt to do it once the radiator and stuff are already in. Screws are not magnetic. And so the nice thing about the Phanteks stuff is it just screws into your fan. It just literally screws in and provides RGB lighting. So I'm a big fan of these things. No pun intended. But there, that's on, and that will provide some pretty functional lighting. So remove this for just a second. trying to make you room, kid. I can't do too much, though. There's not a lot of room over here. There's nothing but. All right, get off there. There, you're a little bit closer now. Ah, my nose. So, if you remember this guy.
I do.
You remember it? Mm-hmm. Still got the thermal paste on there?
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and pull this out. And we're going to set it back up on here. Because... of course it's all the way over there. That's good. You can't really go any closer, kid. There's a box there that I need. And we're gonna take
The box right here?
no, yeah, this box. I'm gonna need that eventually.
Okay. Why are you doing that?
Because this
It's,
is how you clean thermal paste.
can I help?
No, you can't help with this part. I appreciate you asking.
Why?
Because it's very delicate. And I don't want you to be the one who breaks it. If it breaks, it should be because I break it. Rule number 1.
The bake.
If it's broken, it better be because I did it.
Huh.
Oh, no, that's not going to work very well. There, well. There's a little bit still up there. And a little bit along the...
What's that? Tough. What's that tough with that?
It is called rubbing alcohol.
And it's weird. Isn't that weird?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Rule number 2, don't let me touch it.
But no feet.
Rule number 3, deny everything.
Number 4.
I haven't made it that far yet. Just trying to get... Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm just going to be putting more on it anyway, but I want it to be in pretty good shape. So we're pretty much ready to go. I want to keep this box.
Did you tell?
Number 4, you didn't do it.
Huh? Me? Number 4? I did not do it.
Rule number 4 is you did not do it. Blame somebody else.
Oh.
See, you're pinning yourself in, kiddo. That's why I put it where I put it, so you had some room to move. And you can still see, because you're going to be able to see better than the people can see, because I don't know how I'm going to make this work.
I want to see on that.
On what? Those aren't connected right now.
No.
You punk. So we're going to put you right there. And we're going to go ahead and bring you back up. We're going to make sure you're not getting crushed.
Me?
Yeah, you. So I believe that these are already pre-installed, the standoffs, which is helpful.
What happened?
That the standoffs are pre-installed. Now the other thing that Phanteks does is they give you some really nice... Don't leave it. Oh, you're just playing with that. Okay. They give you some really nice accessory kits. Really nice accessory kits. Now the downside to this case, and something that is worth remembering, is that this case does not come with SSD sleds for some reason. They didn't include them, which is really great since there's 3 mounts in the back for them. But I guess they're assuming that you're just going to use the panel in the back. And they don't really give you a whole lot. And this is an expensive case, but their instruction booklet is really good. It's very clear. It's very precise. It's very concise. It tells you everything you need to know. You will never... Hey, Silver. My live gamer is working today for some reason. So my microphone is working, which means my audio should be working. So if you notice it going out of sync, just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't give you much, though, in terms of accessories. There's some hard drive sleds. One of these has stuff hidden in them. This is a little magnetic cover that you can put on the top of the case to block an opening so that the radiator or whatever isn't recirculating air, it's forcing it out.
Can I get the second one?
You can pull that out. There's nothing in that one. And then there's this. They give you a nice little toolbox to use. That's actually what I came in here for, because I need one of these. Oh. Oh.
That's what we got.
So my child just found something I didn't know.
Yeah.
The SSD sleds not being in there is really bad to me. I actually have no idea. Oh, there's some zip ties. There's some other stuff in here. I don't actually know what those are. Good job, Kai. Good catch. I'll put this back in here for now.
Okay.
I don't need that one either. There's nothing in that one either.
Yes.
What's in there? Just the hard drive sled.
The same.
Yeah. I need this. And I need one of the hard drives. And I think that's all. We're going to keep this close. I don't mind the hard drive cages, but I do wish the SSD sleds were in here.
Yeah.
A $200 case should have that. Just saying. But yeah, that's pretty much the case in a nutshell. There's room in the front for, I think it's 360, and up at the top, I think they give you 420. I can double check that though, because again, they do give you great manuals. So you got real quick.
I love Hocus Pocus, but Biggs are my favorite. Is that Hocus Pocus?
Is that a Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, Binks.
Okay. Binks?
Yeah, Binks is a bad cat. A talking cat.
Yeah. Page 12. I went right past it. So, installing fans. Water cooling, page 17. Oh, yeah, I looked right at it. So, in the front, you can fit up to 360 millimeters. In the top, or no, you can, depending on the form factor, you can fit up to 420. So the front will take 360 or 420. The top will take up to 360. I was reading this completely wrong. But plenty of options for water cooling. They actually have a fill port at the top of the top bracket if you want to utilize that. Another thing I don't really care for, it's not going to affect me because I'll be using a water-cooled graphics card. Yeah, I think that would be a real tight squeeze. I think if you're going to do a 360, you're going to want to use a 280 in the other one. Okay, good job. So you're going to want to, I mean, you know, Silver, you know how this works, but you're probably going to want one to be 280, the other to be 360 or 420. I don't have a need for a 420, so I'm going to use a 360 and a 280. I want to do the 280 in the front because there's fans already here if I have the room to do it. I think really the graphics card is going to be the determining factor if I can do push-pull. If I can't do push-pull, these Phanteks fans are coming out, and the EK Vardar fans are going in instead. but I think we're pretty well ready to at least get started. Because I think this is pretty well.
Okay, go.
So we're just gonna.
I just got a jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna want cheese, but I'm not gonna serve it in.
I keep bopping my head on this microphone. Drive everybody nuts. It might just be the situation where it's just fussy. Can't really. The I/O is clear. These magnetic screws are not exactly the most magnetic things in the world. That's an unfortunate placement for that. This is always the fun part, is trying to get these screws into these tiny little openings without making a mess. See? Dropped another one.
Not you. No, not you.
All the ones at top are lined up, so those aren't really an issue.
Okay. Okay. No.
There's another one in this corner behind the
I said no.
more robust pieces of
No.
covers on this board that is always tricky, but I got that on the first try, of course. And then there's, oh gosh, this is a terrible one. I'm gonna do that one last.
No.
We're just going on over there with the dogs.
I'm trying to get over this thing, but that's actually not that.
That is terribly unfortunate. So we're gonna hope that we can do this, because this one is just the worst possible place. No, it went in upside down. All right, well, that one's gonna be fun. Much fur. Oh, this bit's magnetic. Well, that's good to know. Ha! Will not be defeated. That's why you have two different size screwdrivers. That would have been a tough fit anyway. So, That's good. That's good. Good. That's good. Begging dogs. That's good. That's good. We're all good. So, we have a motherboard installed. I already have the memory and the processor. If you were here last night, I already have those installed because it's just easier and saves you a lot of trouble. But now that that's done, this is where you got to decide what you want to do. Now the fans are fine as they are. I have to decide. Oh, we have dog treats on the workstation. That's always great. I have to decide if I want to start loading the power supply in, because I think I want to do the radiator last. I want to do the cooling last. So I think we'll do the power supply. 'Cause I'm gonna need a lot of SATA. Because the RGB I think has SATA. Alright. That could have been really bad. And actually, I think it was really bad. Oh, no, it's fine. Okay. Just to be safe, we're gonna move you away a little bit. Okay. So they've got the fans going into this hub, which is, because these are 3-pin. So I'm gonna I may be redoing the fans regardless. But let's see what we got here. So, what we have here, we have our USB 3.0, HD audio, the motherboard RGB 3-pin, and our power switch. And we have, is this what you want?
Yeah. It's not cheap. They're open.
They're open though. And so we have all these. This goes to the motherboard if I want to use that, which I don't know if I'm going to use. I don't usually use hubs. I also don't like 3-pin fans. I like PWM. So I may be putting the Vardar fans in anyway. So the way they have all this routed, these are fine because these are going to go in through there. This is the digital RGB. This is 12 volts. This is SATA. One of these is for the fan controller. One of these is for the RGB. These, though, I need for the Type-C.
I came up. This chick.
Digital fan. I think this is going to be, it's 12 volt, I believe, is the fan controller, and this is probably for the lights. That's the fan. That's the fan. And that's the adapter that goes to the motherboard. So they give you one of these to connect more RGB stuff to, which is really nice of them. I smell nothing but dog treats right now. Probably because there's nothing but dog treats going in. Again, I'm not sure about using that. I do need to figure out if I want you to go. Let's put that through here. And see if we have enough length. These go through here. These stay back here. Yeah, probably could have left this. So we'll pin those back down so that they can't go anywhere. And we'll see if I need to make any more adjustments with that. So let's flip it. And see. So I actually don't know where all the headers are. So 3.0 is further down, so that's not going to work through there. Actually, these are both going to go through on the. So let's go ahead and leave you open. This is where. Here. I think the Type C. I've never installed Type C, so I have no idea. But I'm assuming that that's correct because it went in. And then this is the 3.0. And this is the fan hub. Which I guess can go to the high amperage or just right up here, since why not? Yeah? Yeah. Alright. So, next we're going to see how that works out with this cabling. And, yeah, so we're just going to loop you down there. Loop you right there. And shut you for now. So when we do the power supply, obviously has to go in down here. Phanteks continues to insist on a rear removal for the power supply, but what they've done this time is they've done one of these. So little bracket you can just plop onto the back of the power supply. So I'm going to move this out of the way for now. Because we need this. out, but I'm probably going to need at least one of the stock SATA. Keep this close. Because my main cables are cable mod. And these are the carbon color. So we're going to be using this kit. And the only reason I want to keep the other power supply stuff readily available is I think I'm going to need some additional SATA, because I'm going to have 2 SSDs. I'm going to have 2 SSDs, an actual hard drive. Yes. If you're going to do that, go to the other room. Don't you me. So, power supply again. Corsair RM1000X. No, I said if you're going to play with your toys, you go to the other room. Okay. I'm just saying. Go lay down. See, because you've been giving them treats, the dogs are in here. Looking for more. Especially Shenzi. Dogs and kids and everything else in between. I love how they give you Molex. So there's a 4-pin SATA. I am going to need a Molex though. Kylie, there's no room here. I just told you. There's no room. You have to, if you're going to play, you have to play in the other room. It's going to be a long time, kiddo. This is not going to be done very soon. There's the 24-pin. I'm pretty sure that I have everything I need. Need to go back. Yeah, is that what you think? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna break a child today.
No.
Yes.
Don't do that.
Okay, so there's our motherboard. Biggest thing is going to be making sure I don't mix up the 8-pin GPU, which I'm pretty sure that's graphics. Sure that one is too. Because the pin layouts going into the power supply are the same, but there's one of these that's different. That's the 6-pin, which I don't need. It's SATA. This is CPU.
up here?
I think this is the,
I can put them over here.
this is definitely CPU. Yeah, I'm gonna end up breaking you, child. I told you.
No.
Yeah,
No. You're not.
I am.
No.
So these are all the same. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is the 4-pin supplemental. Because this kit say it in here somewhere. No.
We can't get the rest.
These guys have the combs. Just need to see something.
The owl one more time.
Fits. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to check real fast before I do anything stupid.
The piston? Put this one back over there. Put that over here. Put my computer.
Kylie, stop. Yep. So that works. Ah, they're all tangling up. So yeah. So this, Kylie, stop. For the second time. Don't make me say it a third.
Time for my tile.
I understand what you're trying to do, and I'm telling you not to. Yeah, it's this one. So these two are graphics. So these are GPU. These are. There we go. That's a little better. So we're going to put our CPU 4 plus 4. And I checked this one right. Yeah, goes right in. And then this is CPU. So the ones that are marked PSU on them go to the graphics card. It'd help if I put the right end in. So these are going to be what I need for the graphics. So I'll go ahead and separate these combs out a little bit so I know. And that's the 6-pin that I don't need. It's SATA. This is one of the SATAs I will take advantage of. That's a dual. I actually think I have just enough. Because this is a 4. So put that in. Put that in. And I am going to need a Molex. just not right away. But I am going to need one. So we're going to go ahead and put this in. Can't read. Watch.
The dog.
Oh, you want your dog? Here's your dog. And so there's that. And that's what all the cables look like. So now
That's our kitty.
we have to get these all up here
This
so that I can attempt to do this.
I'm trying to go listen to the hobbies.
I think it's these. Probably should have put the bracket on first, but you know, we don't have time for these kinds of technicalities. Didn't think this through. And also, this isn't going to work this way. So, because I'm a dum-dum. There we go. That's the one we wanted. I do that every single time. Just want to get these started so that I don't have to fight with them too much. Okay, go. And then... Yeah, you did. There's already not enough room in here. That was impressive. Okay, brackets installed. So let's get all this other stuff out of the way. Move you for the moment so that we can get the case back up. And the real fun. Shoving, get out of the way, all of this in. Phanteks. There we go. Come on up, guys. You're all gonna have to go somewhere. Get you lined up. Come on. about we do this? Instead of, you know. All right. Child, you're gonna get squished. And then I'm gonna have to end your existence. All right, so power supply is in. So now, we open that up, and we figure out how we're gonna route these, just to an extent. You, over here, you're the auxiliary, so you can go up there. I don't know. Aren't you paying attention too? So we want this like this. And who didn't come up to play? You. And you. So you are GPU, which means there's an opening for you. You are going to be for water cooling. I don't know what to tell you. I think for the motherboard, we're going to want to go through that opening, maybe? We'll find out. Stand you back up and give you a little bit of a turn, because yeah, that's about where we want that to go. Both CPU should go through on this side for the best routing. Graphics card is going to go through this little opening down here. It's not really a great place for the HD audio.
I gave my dog a big. Okay.
Or I will end your existence. Same with the header. So there's a header up here. There's a header down there. These are better off going the other way. Through the far side of the case. So over here. Right up there. Come on. You can do it. Because the HD audio is... I'm going to knock this case over and regret everything in my life. Is right there. I don't necessarily care for it, but might as well utilize it. The RGB right there, and then I'll have to look and see where that guy goes. The motherboard is right here. I think we got it.
Because I right away. Oh,
And so we're going to push that through as best we can. Oh, we've got another comb. We can do that. We only need one of these, and I think it was that one, yeah. So what I'll do is the other one will just kind of send him back where he doesn't belong. But the idea is to, I want to do this now because if I wait till later, you're not going to be able to see these, so I'm not worried about the combs. I don't want there to be an issue later. And there should be enough room for these with the cooler. We're actually going to use these combs to keep the wires from being a little too crazy. Again, I'm probably going to figure something else out with the fan controller because I'm not a big fan of those. You can actually go over here for now. So all I am going to do is temporarily connect this Halos to the pre-installed RGB, which goes like this. Get you out of the way for the time being. Actually, should be fine just as is. And then you will just get tucked in there for now. I'll figure something out with you. Now, before I do anything too crazy, I should make sure. Let me pull all this stuff out of here for now. I don't want those to get caught in no man's land. The rest of you can stay pre-wrapped. Because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to put the hard drive cage in. Just going to check.
Gotta be nice and long. And so you go get nice inside.
So, we'll need one of these. And I think all these do. Just on the bottom there somewhere. Yeah, I see. All the way back. So these go in. Slide in. I probably could have done this first, but they just go on the bottom. I like these cables. I'm just going to have to be careful routing them. So we've got all our SATA down here. We've got our graphics still. Graphics will loop. Let me turn this. There's stuff up here, but it's just going to have to do. So you guys come with me. And then you. This is actually a really tight squeeze. Probably because it keeps closing. There's one. Opening's not very big. And these cables don't flex very much. Not one in. Ah, no. Aha. There. So that's two. No, don't you dare fall back in there. We're going to pull them all the way through first. So, keep hitting stuff. These guys are kind of tangled together, but that's okay. They're just going to trying to figure out which one is which. Okay, there we go. So then you shove back in. These are the GPU. It's getting there. It's a process. Got the CPU power, the motherboard power. We've got the fan hub connected, which again, I'm probably going to change all that. I just want to get this system up and started and go from there. So again, that will be that. Are you guys fighting over where you want to go? 'Cause we can end this fight real fast. Yeah, just like that. These cables are stiff, so they're kind of trying to do what they want. Should be fine, except I don't want them to do that, but yeah. We'll work that out in a minute. Don't want to forget the additional drive. I am still using a standard hard drive. Because I don't have any sense. So it goes in. Goes in like that. And then Not ignoring you guys, just trying to stay focused on all this. This is why I didn't want to do this last night, because I knew that this would be long. There's going to be a child not in this room whose life I end.
The dog again.
I mean, in retrospect, I probably should have put this sled in first. In retrospect. But now this is ready to go. I don't connect the drives right away. I'm going to end people who don't live in, who don't stay in this room. Oh, I guess I should grab the hard drives. So see, I have these from the Enthoo Evolv. These will work. If you have an Enthoo Evolv, these sleds will work with this case. I just wish they would have included them, because I'm going to need them. Because as much as I like the idea of hiding them behind the door, it's not that something that I actually want to do. So I also have these guys. We have a pair of Samsung 860 Evos that are going to go in, because I don't know, because I thought a 1 terabyte and a 500 gig in the other build was overkill, so I decided to top myself. I'm just getting these prepared. I don't connect the drives directly until I'm done installing Windows. I'll connect them to the board and everything. I'll connect the cabling and everything to the board, but I won't actually connect the drives until after the fact. So let me see what I have in here for cabling. So we have straight and right angle. So we have 2 straight, 2 right angle. We have an RGB extension. We have more. They give a lot more. They give you more SATA cables this time. And I'm guessing this is a converter, USB to 2.0. Yeah. Which I don't need. And then I think this is Wi-Fi, which I don't need. And SLI bridge. And ease of use for the LED stuff. So, don't need you. But I do want you, and I think this is how I want to do this, so that they're... Yeah. So this is the way I want to do these, I think. It's really loud in the background. It's getting a little wild back there. This is why I don't do this stuff. Because there is a older child who does not listen to anybody. anybody who's watching and actually paying attention, what's the weather like where you are? I've got a cat growling. I have a dog lurking. Everything is fine. The reality is we're coming down the final stretch, I think, with all this, because once we get to the point I think these big hard drive sleds, the weather here is fire. It's snowing here. Oh gosh, I dropped a screw. Actually a winter weather advisory, which is always nice. Yeah, is it the wildfires? I saw somebody on Twitter talking about the fires. This is going to be awesome if I put these in upside down. I've done that so many times, but I think I've got this right, because I think it goes and then just slides down. Alright, so hard drives are set. It's 2 SSDs, started by our electric company, like most of our wildfires. It's unfortunate. I have a cat staring at me, which is always nice. So let's go ahead and flip this back this way. So again, this is the SATA. So these guys, in theory, oh yeah, again, it helps if I do it correctly. Go like that. Oop, I missed. I don't know how I could do the first one without issue, but then I can't do the second one. There we go. So that's how those guys will work. So right there. They don't maintain the lines, but charge almost the most. Yeah, you know, electric companies, let's talk about them. Let's talk about that for a minute. I'm doing this like this because I'm trying to scratch my monitor. Not really. What I'm trying to do is get a better angle. I think oh my gosh, what am I catching? Aha! Did I actually get it? I did. I did. It's going to be really awesome with a SATA cable. Because, yeah, I really, really, really wish I could say I enjoy the way companies do their power. My next question is going to be, as soon as I figure out where I lost my motherboard manual, is going to be the SATA ports to use. So these are all black. The ones that came with my X99 board were black with white accents, which were really nice. But I think this goes better with what I'm doing here. So again, this Molex needs to be over here. This dual SATA is actually perfect for over here. So we're going to route this way. And we're going to continue to try. This guy's just going to have to get zip tied, I think, and bunched up somewhere. It's going to cause a lot of trouble for me. But I think we have just enough length. Yeah. Just enough. I think. Let's find out. Without breaking it. Yep. So we have just enough length there. Perfect. I've really enjoyed the Painesville method of charging a bazillion extra dollars, even though they have their own power plant, but they don't make enough power, so they have to actually outsource, and then they pass the savings on to us.
Do you know that they lowered that amount though?
Haven't seen it yet.
It's supposed to show up sometime soon, that supposedly the extra charge, that additional charge they charge us, is supposed to decrease significantly with a slight increase in our per wattage charge.
Ends up being the same. Okay, so again, I can actually leave those in. We're just going to leave those in. The other one that's going to be tricky, I think, might be this guy down here. So let's see if we can catch this without breaking it. Yes, that's correct. Aha, I got it. And I'm not going to fight it because I got it on the first try. So we're just going to leave those. We'll connect the actual SATA data after the fact. And then this leaves us with you and you, and one to spare for future use. And we don't have to do too much work here because, again, this shroud, this will cover most of this. We'll do a little bit of work, but we're not gonna bend over backwards. Especially since I still don't know how I'm gonna do the LED strips in this build because there's no real functional place to put them, but we'll figure it out. So then you guys can all go in here. and that works, and you can go right here, and that works. I don't think I'm going to be able to do much more. Let me see. Can I? I can. So again, the cable management in this case is an improvement, I think. I mean, it's not terrible in the Enthu, but this wide channel is just so much better. So I still have more stuff to connect. I still have to do the AIO, and I still have to actually do the SATA data cables. But as it stands, let me carefully lift this up. This is what we're looking like as I continue to knock stuff down. This is what we're looking like for cable management right now. Again, there's still some more. There's going to be more wires. The AIO is going to have wires coming out of it, but that's not too bad. Because again, this is going to close. That's going to close. So really the only thing you're going to see is that. That's all you're going to see. So that's a big plus with this case. Okay. So let's shove you in here for now. I don't need the Molex yet, but I wanted to connect it because I will need it eventually. So that's kind of the downside right up there, but that's okay. So now that it's closed, that's how it looks. We'll open it back up in a second, but I just want to flip it back because the next step is SATA. We got to connect the SATA. And I really, really find it bizarre that I do not know where my motherboard manual ended up.
Do you have an issue with Kylie cutting the flaps off the box with the packing peanuts in it?
No.
Okay.
It's going to get tossed eventually anyway.
You're good to go.
All right. So, the only reason I want the motherboard manual, wherever I dumped it, is it underneath here? No. Is to make sure, because I know on X99 it mattered. You guys can go to the pile of done. I like how there's just this mass of paper towels down here. Seriously, where did that manual go? I had it up there. So. Aha. I just want to check the SATA part. I know there were certain ones that were faster on X99, but I don't know if it makes a difference here. I don't think it does. I think they're all the same speed. Yeah, they're all 6 gigabit, so doesn't appear to matter. But we need 2 standard. I actually think, I don't know. I don't know if the right angle is going to help much. We'll keep it Let's actually check right now. Man, I keep coming awfully close. I should have taken that monitor off of there. Let's check. I can't get to it now. Yeah, I don't think a right angle is going to help me down there, so I think we're just going to use 3 standard ones. I appreciate the right angled ones, though. They're very helpful in certain circumstances. But for this particular use, I think the straight one is going to be the better choice. Yeah, that'll work. I'm going to connect these for now, just to get the routing. And we know that will work. We know how well this is going to work. I think we want to come in below the motherboard. So we're going to use this as a test. I guess I could stop laying it down. Oh, no, we're going to have to go down even lower. So let's go. Oh yeah, I can see that. So right here, and we're just gonna start. So that's that one. And then we've got these guys. Like I said, before I power up, we'll go ahead and disconnect the actual drives because I wonder, it makes more sense for routing purposes to go like this. So we'll call you. I want to do this part now because once that graphics card is in, there will be no fighting with these to get these in and out. So that takes care of that. And again, that keeps them routed there. These can actually drop below, out of sight, and be hidden by the shroud. Yeah, this is coming together. I think this is the only area. This one's going to be obnoxious because it's just so much. But again, we already have that in, so we're going to disconnect that so it doesn't get data. We're going to disconnect you, and then once we get Windows going, we will reconnect the drives. No, I'm not doing the water stuff today. I still don't have the reservoir or the water block, the CPU block. So that'll be something I do later. I don't know if I'm going to stream that. Thank you for the host, 10th Isle. I just noticed that. Because I do want to do it right. I want to do the overnight leak test and all that stuff. So I maybe the actual putting it all together, I'll do some streaming of. But we shall see. For now, I just want to get this system up and running. I'm going to use the EVGA AIO to get the system up and running and then go from there. Because I'm probably going to... This whole thing is going to get changed around a little bit anyway. I don't like fan hubs. I don't like them at all. And I don't like the fact that these front fans are 3-pin. And I think... I don't even know where this back fan is. That's actually something... Where is... Yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's where it goes in. So I have... Yeah, these are all 3-pin fans. I'm not big on those. The rear one's okay. I like PWM, so I may end up switching some things. We'll see. It depends if I can get the DC control to actually work like it's supposed to. I just like PWM a lot better. So the front ones are an easy fix because I have the Vardar fans that I can put in right away. But that rear fan, I don't know. We'll figure this all out eventually. For now, it's just getting it up and seeing that it's running and making sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. So, we're getting there. We're getting closer. So let me close that back down for now so I don't have stuff falling all over the place. Yeah, a hub is fine, but again, these are all 3-pin, and I've never had a lot of success because I know 3-pin isn't PWM. I can't open it up right now, kid. Sure. I said, though, I was going to give this one a try, though. I was going to give this hub a try. Probably because my experience with a fan hub has been with NZXT. And I know how you feel about NZXT.
Are you done?
I'm actually getting there, kiddo.
You still have one more box.
What?
One more box.
Those are empty. Now, it's time for the whole reason that this even happened.
Is that the last one?
No.
With the last one.
The whole reason that this build is even possible. Oh, I guess I should, so what do we need? We need second and third.
Do you have a little bit more to do?
Yeah, a little bit more, kiddo. We're very close. Oh my gosh, these PCI brackets. Yes, thank you, Asus. This is entirely because of Asus Elite Rewards. It's a program they offer where if you have Asus products, you register them on there and you get points. They run contests. And one of the contests was you and a friend with a chance to win a you're not in all the way. GTX 1080 Ti. Hooked back there. You're just not. Okay. Never know with these cards if they're actually in or not. But you are hooked. This card is so freaking big.
What card? What card is so big?
This graphics card, kid. Oop, sorry. Bump the mic.
I think I'll be waiting right here.
Yeah, you're just going to be waiting right there?
Get back to it. Going too fast.
I cannot wait to see the GPU sag on this. Yeah, this thing
I'm waiting.
is massive. I mean, the 1070 isn't exactly. Come on, cables. I know there's a lot of you in there. This is where I'm gonna have to fuss with some of the cabling. Down below.
Okay.
Well, what are you gonna do about it?
Can you make more?
No, I can't make you anything
No,
right now.
I'm done.
Kid, it's gonna be a while still.
I put him blame.
I mean, oh, you popped off again.
What the pop?
These cable mod cables are so thick that it keeps popping this cover.
What cover?
This cover just keeps popping up. So yeah, we're almost there. So we've got
Yeah.
motherboard power. I gotta figure out why these. I gotta do some work with Kylie. You're in the way. You are directly where I need to go. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, if there is a gripe about
I like this very
The,
high out. I like this cable high. I like the cable with the
the cable
high.
hiding.
Yeah, I like this.
No,
It's so
there's
funny.
there's a decent amount of room down here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna to you.
I know. But there is a little bit
Sorry.
of crunching going on with the cables. Particularly the graphics card cables. I gotta figure out, where are you guys trying to go?
Me too. Can I help? Where to go?
Because you guys just need to cooperate. There we go.
What happened?
Nothing. I just needed to play around a little bit and force them to go where I wanted them to go. That's a little better.
I like this
Until I
kayak.
shove
the
this back
K-box.
in. Yeah, I like that too. It's a very nice thing that they did.
Yeah, me too.
Makes it a lot easier.
That
And again, you can shove back in there.
Can I set them in? Can I set them in? Can I set the cushion?
Not yet.
Okay.
Patience, grasshopper.
Okay.
Fortunately, you could see the cables down here, but not really that concerned.
I this one the cold.
That one's gonna be fun. I am not gonna lie. This one's not gonna be that difficult. That one's already closed.
Which one?
This one's off its hook. But yeah, it just goes like that. Yeah,
Oh,
you almost had it. It's okay.
yeah.
The cables are thick. It's not your fault, kiddo.
Mm.
They're just really thick cables that like to do what they want. I almost want a new case just for that. Have you thought about vertical mount?
I see.
I have, and I can, but I'd have to buy the riser cable and the adapter because this case is equipped for it. There are slots for the vertical mounts.
Yeah.
You tell 'em.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Can we that? I can see my cat.
Yeah.
I
So
can
again.
do that.
So at this point now we are down to, I think, the last step,
Yeah.
which is the temporary cooling solution, the AIO.
It holds that hold.
which is right next to your feet, kid, so please don't step on it.
Right here?
Yes, that thing. Whoa, easy, watch out for the wires. If the stream ends, sorry, it was Kylie. We're gonna put you right there now.
Yeah.
Try not to bonk you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I'm trying to bump this, you.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So, for my last trick,
Yeah. What is it?
bonk you on the head.
No.
We get to do this all over again.
This?
So,
Can I have? Can
first
I
things
get
first.
this?
You gotta wait a second.
Me?
I said you, didn't I?
Yeah.
We need our thermal paste again.
That's been my piece.
It's paste that helps transfer heat from the processor.
Can I
You cannot do this. This is very scientific, okay?
There it goes. Is that by K?
Huh?
Oh.
It's just a little tiny tube. And we're just going to drop
Kids.
a little blob.
I can see. I need to get my door.
Just a little blob on the center. And this is why I left all this stuff installed. Ah, whoa, kid. See the little blob in the center?
Yeah.
Yep. I'll still be here, Silver.
Can I help?
Not at the moment, no. This is not something that you can help with.
What can I help with?
That you can just not get in the way. That's what you can help with right now.
Can I just?
Kylie, I just said. No, you cannot do that right now.
I was about to put it in.
I don't need it in yet. There are steps to this, kiddo.
No, for you.
I just said. Can't do that yet.
That's
Because we have to do step one. And step one is
my ticket head.
you not getting hit in the head. It's fine if you hold on to them, just don't.
The little bob.
I need one. Okay. Alright, I need another one.
This one?
Yep.
And then this one. And then this one.
I don't care which one you give me. They all work the same.
I go hold this one.
They're all the same. Alright, last one.
Can I goose up the end?
No, you cannot do that part. Well, there's a reason I'm telling you that. Because this is a very specific process. Finger tight. Finger tight. Finger tight.
This is finger tight.
What's finger tight? It means that
It's tight.
it's not too tight. It's tightened enough by just my fingers to make sure that it's not too tight, but tight enough.
Kinda tight?
Kinda tight, correct. Whoa. Easy there, bucko. Hold on to that for me.
This?
Yeah, hold on to that. Because we're going to decide.
Two. It's only two. It's only two. Can I put this off?
I actually might leave it attached because I may put it. Actually, I may just leave this attached because for this, it might be easier this way. Oh, I goofed. Dum. Hush it, child. Whoa. Hold this. Thank you. Thank you. So what we want to check is, can I put it there? I mean, I think we can put it there. We've got, so this, there's so much clearance. We're not,
Can I save this one?
but I think I want it off to this side for now.
Yeah, Daddy. I was thinking about that too.
You're thinking about that too?
Yeah.
Mostly because the,
How you gonna do in that piece?
don't worry about that, child. You ask a good question though.
Huh?
I think these guys are the screws I need.
Can I get some juice on for you?
No, those are not the right screws. Hold on, kid.
It's okay. Let me see. Do it something like. I think it was those skinny ones. I'm gonna take these one out. Daddy, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take these ones. Daddy, I'm gonna take these ones right here. It is right.
Oh, you're gonna check those ones?
Yeah. Yep. Let's try them. Let's try them. Try them.
Try those?
Yeah.
I mean, I think these are.
Are they right?
I think so. You may have actually nailed it, kid.
I always know it. We only have three. Do we only need two? Only two. Only two. Where do you put this one?
Careful.
Sorry.
I don't know where that went. Give me another screw.
Yeah.
Yeah, those probably aren't the right ones, but they'll do for a moment. While I figure this out, I just want to hold this in place for now. Because
I'm gonna go put that other one.
okay, you do that. Yeah, that's the riser cable.
Go in here. How do we want to feel?
That's really funny that screw fell and we don't know where it went. Yeah, that's the riser cable. That's not going to help me. Whoa, kid. With these.
want to put that one. If it's not put that other one, I got the wrong page. I put right here. I put it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I wonder if these will work.
Probably when somebody you can sign.
Yeah.
I've been looking.
You been looking?
Yeah. Nope. It's gone.
Ow.
Sorry.
You gotta be.
I'm mixing enough duckies and one of these. Bill. Some bacon.
We'll figure it out, don't worry. You said this isn't it.
I got off and on. Let me make sure that's over here. Put that. I can't tell that go that far.
I'm gonna do this makeshift style. 'Cause I don't think these are necessarily the right screws for this job, but as long as it's in place.
I didn't make a bunny. I didn't make a bunny saddle.
Not now, child.
I don't think they're like that.
Just has to hold, which it will.
I didn't make a bunny.
As I've said, this is a temporary solution. I have a 360 and a 280 radiator that I will be putting in at some point. Probably mid to end of next week. Kylie, you are in a very bad place. There are wires there, and you're going to disconnect something. And then I will have to break you. And then I'll have to explain to people. And then I'll have to explain to people why I ended your existence. So we have these. There's a light in my face. There's a light in my face. I can't see. I'm blind. Child, that does not help me. Well, I mean, it kind of does, actually. So we're going to slide. We're going to try and slide you through this back opening. As best we
Can.
As best we can.
Yeah, I was saying that.
Yeah. Oh, you were saying that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you.
One of my favorite things about this EVGA cooler is I need this light actually. Wait just a second.
I can't bend this. I won't bend that.
Don't spin it right now. Can you hold this now? Thank you. And put that right through there. I guess this is going to be really awkwardly placed. Let me see this again. Right. Turn the way I want you to turn. Not funny, child.
Yes. Nice.
I really do not like the way they do these wires. In fact, I'm wondering. Hold this again. Yes.
My tyrant. Get it out of your way.
Yeah. I know. Let me get your finger out of there.
Bye.
'Cause that's just weird. You weirdo. I'm wondering if I can just. Route this. Like so.
I can't hold this so long.
Then don't. You punk. You're in the way again.
Okay.
Haha. So that's an alternate way to do it. Okay. So aside from all these wires appearing in the back, and now we can show what this is for. So I've got one. I'm trying not to bonk this child in the head. But I've got one open slot right here. That's what that's for. To block off that opening so that the air doesn't escape out of there. Which is kind of neat. In a sense, I guess. But I think we've got the fan connected, we've got the radiator up, we've got CPU power, motherboard power. The only thing that's left that I can see is the front panel connector, and there's only one. But I want to make sure I get this.
Hey, sister, Papa. I am the sister, and you, sister. You, how are you doing? Wake up. You.
So
Yeah.
it looks like, and I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to. Child.
Yeah.
Playing with the USB sticks.
Yeah.
Can you scoot just a bit so that I can very carefully and delicately lay this down? As according to this, the power button is the top, right? Right. So, if I've got that on there correctly, the power button should work. If not, I have power buttons on the motherboard. Everything appears to be connected though. So we're gonna move. Thank you. I'm gonna spin this one more time. There we go. Oh, hush it.
Yeah, another high bat.
Because you
And I step it down.
Yep. So again, this is the troublesome spot because of all of these fan connectors. But I think that's about as good as that's gonna get.
Wait, I want to see this one more time. I'm about to open it by myself.
Okay, well, thanks for your help. That's not going to close all the way because of this and the fact that I may have broken this tab. But, excuse you? What are you doing?
Can I get this one out? Oh, duck.
Yeah, you're going to be stuck. But it is almost time for the moment of truth. I think we've got everything connected. This is peeling off. It's just a little plastic tab. Unfortunately I've seen that that's a common thing. They're not very well made. There go the dogs. So, and it probably wouldn't close anyway. It's actually probably a good thing. Stand by. I think there was a knock at the door. Which is probably my splitter. Again, I'm not that terribly worried about it because, yeah. I know what that is. Because if I really wanted to, just take it off. As I said, I like what Phanteks has done with a lot of the elements on this case. Those, however, they do screw in, so maybe I'll contact them and see if they can send me a replacement. Because I swear it was an accident. Now I don't think the other one is catching either.
What?
You're funny. Yes, this one's not catching now either. But again, once the side panel's on, that's not going to really matter too terribly much, but it is kind of funny that they're that cheap. Again, I could realistically take that off and you wouldn't even notice. But, be that as it may, it is time oh, maybe that's why it's not catching. Oh yeah, that makes a difference. Let's move you to your new home.
No. Just like this. Another room.
didn't end up needing this, which is
Dad,
great.
can you give me a
I can't
cocoa?
do anything for you right now for the millionth time because I am busy. Important. You are important. The nice thing about just doing a straight swap is everything else is ready to be plugged in. Although I almost forgot a very important detail.
Where's the package?
Actually, let's not go up that high. And where it is. Right through here. Yeah. Kylie, flashlight.
Flashlight up.
Thank you. All right. So that is in. That is in. That is in. She did it. She did it.
What?
You did it. You said you did it.
What?
I don't know. Whatever you
It's
did.
okay, a game.
Oh. So, this is a big moment here. I'll pull you back forward. Pull you back. kid is just in the worst place. And all your stuff on the floor is just not helpful. Actually, we're just going to do mouse, keyboard, monitor, power switch. Oh, I guess I would help. Oh, down that goes.
What down?
The light. Not really sure why this went down, but. Oh, that's why. I got caught on the mouse.
What
Somehow.
mouse? Come on, look at them. I heard something.
Yes, you did.
I don't know what that was.
Now,
Do you know what that is?
we've got some lights.
Did you hear that?
I
don't
did.
know what it was.
I know what it was. Calm down.
What was it?
It was me.
Why? Wait. What that? Wait. What that sound like you did? What that sound like you did?
Step aside.
Why is it the side?
Just do it. Hands are spinning. We have picture.
We have colors. We got colors. Rainbow colors. Is that rainbow colors? Daddy, are those rainbow?
Press F1 to enter setup.
Daddy, that rainbows? That rainbow?
Yes, for now. So, here we are. There's the memory, there's the boot. It's recognizing the fans. That's one of the things that I thought was really cool about this case, though. That's why I'm not sure what to do about these digital RGB strips I have. I may just try to squeeze one in up top because there's really nowhere else to put it. But it's there, it's alive. The next step I will have is to get into is to get Windows installed. It is. It's very rainbowy.
I like rainbow.
Okay. Can you let go now? Thank you.
Rainbows.
Okay, Kai, come on. Come on. You're pulling my watch down on my wrist. Thank you. So there it is. It is alive. As you can see, we've made it into BIOS.
I'm rainbows.
And it's, what did it take me? Well, we've been streaming.
Rainbows.
Yeah.
All time.
We've been streaming for 2.5 hours. So 2.5 hours to get it. And that's with a couple of little missteps and things that I admittedly goofed on. But we've got fans.
Yes.
We have lights. All the lights are working.
All the lights are working.
The cooler is obviously,
On.
the pump is obviously doing its thing. We are sitting at 25 degrees Celsius.
Yep.
It is alive, Nick. It's alive. And it is operating as it should. So again, the next step for me is going to get into Windows install. Get Windows installed, get all the drives connected. And then figure out what the heck I'm going to do with those LED strips.
Yeah.
Because I don't, there's just nowhere to put the LED strips. I might only be able to connect one.
Yeah.
I might not even bother to connect any. I may just, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do.
Yeah.
Because I was going to put them in, but then I realized there's not really a good place to stick them. Because there's not really a lot of room unless we go along this inside channel up through the top and then somehow squeeze it in through here, but that fan's in the way. So I'm going to have to take some time to think about that one. But as you see, we are alive. We've got video.
Wait,
and
we don't have video.
We do have video right there. They can see it on their screen. And you can see the reflection of the light.
Yeah. I always see that everywhere. From Mommy Kenna, from phone, my phone, Mommy phone, your phone, tablet, my tablet, everywhere.
So that's the thing. When I talk about how it's not that difficult to build a computer, this is kind of what I mean. But you can see, minus this cup of empty chocolate milk, there's still a decent amount of...
Cocoa!
Okay, sorry, Coco. Gosh. I don't think I'm going to be able to do push-pull, so I'll probably end up swapping these fans with the EK Vardar 140s that I have. But I'm really glad that this... that this fan hub is not blowing the fans at about a million RPI.
Oh, now I see
RPMs. I'm sorry, RPI. And everything actually seems to be. That's about what I'd want. So I'm okay with the way the fan curve is. That's perfectly fine with me. But again, that's the build. That's the way it's going to look. These temperatures are going to go up when I put the panels on. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. See if I can do this without making a big mess. Making a mess anyway because there's stuff on this desk that isn't mine. Your sister and this freaking.
Can I help? Can I help? Can I help?
Probably not. Yeah, move your cup. Thank you. Aha, there we go. Oh, of course, the keyboard's in the way now.
Can you close it?
I will in a second.
I will.
I just gotta make sure it clears.
I want to close it.
Okay, hold on. There's a lot of stuff here, kid. Hold on. Child! I said hold on for a reason. A lot of junk over here. My desk ends up being where everybody puts their stuff. And just give it a good push. And so that's how the panel closes. Like I said, like I was saying before, I really like this better because that's just to me so much easier. So much easier than... Stop. I'm talking. Don't do that. It's fine that you're looking. You're doing it. But that's one of the things I like about this case a lot. But I also am doing this because I want to see what happens to the temperatures as I shut this down. Uh-huh. Alright, so both panels are closed now. Temperatures are still, CPU temperature is still 26 degrees Celsius.
Excuse me.
Excuse you. Hey, you know what? Get your stuff out of here.
Nah.
I lost this battle. Actually, step 5 of today is going to be cleaning all of this. But that is the build. I'm not taking the plastic off the panel just yet. Still got some work to do. Oh, there's a light there. Not that high. There we go. So that is the build in a nutshell. If you're still hanging around watching, what are your thoughts? What are your questions? What do you think? What else do you want to see right now? Because yeah, I think I love, and I think those carbon cables look really good in there. But I love, there's a wire that's still going to bother me a little bit. But again, this is so much easier to get into. Because literally, I can just pop this back panel, find the wire, knock a bunch of stuff down, and there, I've made it's still more than I'd like, but it's a better adjustment. Again, if you're going to start watching a video, you got to leave. I told you about that.
But
You
I
can't.
don't know what my headphones are.
Well, I don't know where your headphones are either, because they're not my headphones. I told you about this. You cannot watch your YouTube videos while I'm streaming. You cannot. Here's the problem, kiddo. You've got a bunch of stuff in here that you left, and then you took your headphones with you, and I don't know what you did with them. So you're going to have to figure it out. I can't help you. That's why I told you, get your toys out of here, so that you can find stuff better. Yeah, that's why you can't sit here right now. I'll leave the stream up for a minute while I attempt to clean this up. I just want to see if there's any real noticeable change in temperature with the panels now on versus them being off. Again, this EVGA 280 is only going to be temporary. It's only going to stay in there until the water cooling stuff comes in. No RGB with the water cooling. I did not get an RGB block. I did not get an RGB pump or reservoir or any of that stuff. They are just normal products because, again, one of the things I want to do is do the 360 up top, which there's plenty of room. There's not going to be any issue. I have the 280 shoved all the way to the right, and there's still space up there, and there's a lot of clearance forward, so there shouldn't be any impact to any of the cables. Again, favorite part about this is just the ability.
Headphones were on my sister.
Okay. Oh yeah, I put them there.
Right.
So
Mine did.
Thanks, Nick. I'm glad you were able to stick around, and you actually made it to the end, dude. You made it to the. You were able to. You got out just in time. Thanks for watching, though, Nick. I appreciate you coming by last night. I appreciate you coming by today.
Who's Nick?
He's in chat. Because I can read.
Who's Nick?
His name is Nick. Nick Shot.
And where's Nick? Far?
Somewhat, yeah. Again, Nick, I appreciate you being here and watching this.
Yeah. So go away.
I will try to do more stuff like this. As long as this capture card down there is cooperating, I will continue to do some more stuff. It's kind of weird to me. I have two systems running at the same time.
And Taiwan.
What's with all the paper towels, child? Would you like to explain that?
No. I was telling my
I appreciate your honesty, kid. Would you like to explain that? No. Yeah, I think once I get the water cooling stuff in silver, this is gonna look. The reservoir will go right there. There's a plate somewhere, I think, in one of these in the kit somewhere that goes over there, and I can actually put the reservoir on there. If not, I ordered some. I ordered a bracket to mount it to a fan. It can also there's places for it to mount. I'll figure out the reservoir and the pump and all that stuff. So, and if I have to make an adjustment, I'll make an adjustment. But yeah, see you, Nick. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
I'll be able to figure this out. Like I said.
Never meet Nick.
Okay. Said I might even be able to squeeze the pump down below. It'll take some work to figure it out, but I think we'll be okay. Kylie Brooke, go in the other room then, because I am doing a stream and I'm going to be talking. You punk! Don't be a punk. I tell you this. Don't be your sister. Don't be a punk. So now's the fun part. Where I throw all the stuff back. And start putting this stuff away, but again, I'll leave the stream up for a little bit. So if anybody's still watching, if anybody has any questions, if anybody, this is why I cleaned the. This is why I actually cleaned my closet out in the first place, is so I could just put more stuff back in it. I don't need you. But I will leave the stream up for now. So if you want to ask anything, if you want to talk about anything, we can do so. I'm not going to do the Windows install on stream, I don't think, because I still have to buy another key, actually. Which isn't that difficult. But Windows install is not the most exciting stuff. And Silver, I am just going to use the big Phanteks box and just throw everything in there, because I already have that. But, gosh, so much stuff just everywhere. And this is a little bit more complex of a build, I'd say. And if I really wanted to speed through it, I probably could have done stuff that's falling apart. I could have done it faster, but this wasn't a speed build. It was just kind of take my time, get it right, make sure everything was the way it was supposed to. Hi, Goose. On my way, Goose.
Hi, Goose. I give sensor here, actually?
Because Mock Hot is great. Yeah, the Windows install is going to go on the NVMe, and I have a boot stick. I have this guy. This has a Windows install on it. It doesn't take that long. It's not difficult. Now, something I will have to do at some point is I will have to reconnect my one SSD to the other system to uninstall Origin and all that, because I didn't do that ahead of time because I wasn't thinking about it. And now it wants, and it shows Origin and Uplay as these blank icons on my desktop. I'm just going to reconnect it, uninstall all that stuff. I think. Unless you can just delete them. I don't know. I've never actually done anything like that before. Then go to the other room. I'm streaming here, kiddo. You don't want to hear me talk, go to the other room. Now we can. I'm going to keep the power supply box where I can get to it, and I'm going to keep the EVGA box where I can get to it, because obviously the EVGA cooler is only going to stay in there for a little bit. I'm not even going to bother installing the software. I think because by the time I actually get around to gaming on it, I'll probably have put in the water cooling. I don't know. I'll probably give it a test run tonight. We'll see. But this is, if you're here watching and you weren't sure, this is the 8700. It's an 8700K. I will be overclocking it. Z390 Asus Maximus 11 code motherboard. Samsung 960 Evo 500 gigabyte for boot. And then the Asus Strix GTX 1080 Ti as my graphics card inside of the Phanteks Evolv X. And this will be my new gaming machine. The other computer that is actually running the stream right now will be my streaming and rendering machine primarily. Keep finding these little plastic bags. These are from Cable Mod. Tired of putting that in there. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. I thought about it, actually. It's funny that it's funny because it's just, there was some temptation to go with AMD. There was. I ultimately decided not to because of it's actually one specific, darn it. There's only one specific reason. And that is the iGPU in the 8700K, which, if I get around to it, maybe I'll do that's something I can do a video on. Garbage. Because I actually am curious to see. I kind of want to take a file, render it in Adobe Premiere on the 5820K, and then, hey, stop. Render it on the 5820K, and then render it on the 8700K at its normal settings, and then render it with the iGPU and see, is there really that much of a difference? Because supposedly there is. Now, something else to keep in mind, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, because I don't even know if you can see this because of the microphone. So let me turn this a little bit. You could probably see a little bit of the RGB elements in the front of this case. I'm hoping you can see it. Yeah, set them both at the same speed. This is as soon as you pull this away, it comes off. As soon as you pull the panel away, the light shuts off. as soon as you connect it, it comes back on. So it's a neat way that they did that. And it gives a really good glow in the front. Again, I'm not a big fan of the rainbow. I'm going to leave it. It actually looks kind of cool the way this one is. This is a little bit better than some of the rainbow RGB that I've seen. Again, I love the Halos rings. They're great. I actually have 3 of them. They're going to go on the 120 millimeter fans on the radiator when I do the water cooling, and that should put a real nice glow going down. And again, this will be controllable through ASUS. I have it connected to the motherboard. There's no motherboard control right now, but let's see. One of these should be... This isn't connected. I'll have to check that. There are controls on the front of this, but they're not responding, so I'll figure that out later. But this will have motherboard control through Aura Sync, so I'll be able to kind of do whatever I want with the colors, which is something that I like to do. I betcha this is for the riser stuff. I'll have to look at what those are. But again, very easy to build in. It was very easy to build in this case. I don't like the plastic tabs that much. They're too easy to break. They're too fragile. But that's a minor gripe. I still don't know if I like that the power supply shroud is not ventilated for people who want it. For people who have air-cooled graphics cards, that could make things a little interesting, but I don't think that's as big of a deal as some people make it out to be. But it is nice when there's ventilated shrouds. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that bothered me. I love the cable management part. The cable management side is really nice. It's real easy to manage the cables. I mean, you could put some lighting effects through the back there, and it would look really good. So, really like that. I like there is improvement to this. I'm going to see though just how good it actually is. But again, these fans, I think they're only running at about 50-55%. And we're just now starting to hit, we're bouncing between 28 and 30 degrees Celsius, which is 5 degrees cooler than what the other computer runs at with modified front and top panels. So I think they've done a decent job. This is better. This is much better than the old style panel. And this front is actually you can get your finger in there. Like, you couldn't do that before with the other panel, if I remember correctly. In fact, I'm looking down there. Yeah, you can't get your finger into the front panel, but on this you can I could pretty much get all of my fingers in there. So they've made the improvements there to the ventilation. Again, the improvement with the door, very nice. The improvement with the front panel. Silver, I don't know if you saw this earlier, but...
No, I did not.
Thank you. The top panel, it's a slide mechanism now. So it just pushes back and up, and that's how that just connects. And then there's 2 thumb screws in the back. They are captive thumb screws so that they don't fall off. This front panel can be secured. There's 2 slots here. They connect through the front with thumb screws, which I have right here. My biggest fear is going to be losing these, so I may keep the... I'm probably going to do what I do with the old kit and just leave these in here. In fact, there's a place to put them right in front. And now I don't have to worry about losing them. So those would be what holds this panel in place. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I came across that is something to be worth noting. So again, I guess I'll ask the question again. I'll ask again, are there any questions about this? Is there anything you want to know more about? You want to talk about AMD? You want to talk about computer stuff more? You guys tell me.
Is that all?
It is not all. Not yet. Oh my gosh. I'm so terribly sorry that in my room I'm doing my own thing that you don't like. And if this AverMedia capture card is working again, that makes a big difference in what I do. And actually I should probably put the front panel, the side panel back on that case down there. It's been open the entire time. Stop asking that. Trash box. Oh, hey. I found your screw.
Oh, how?
I stepped on it. It was on the floor.
Oh.
It must have fallen out of the case when I picked it up to move it. I completely forgot it was in there. That could have been interesting. Yep. I still have not seen the CPU go above 30C at this point in time. But if nobody has anything else they want to ask, if nobody has any questions or anything they want to sit and talk about, I'll probably wrap this up here in a minute to clean up this massive mess I've made and get to installing Windows and getting this thing set up. One thing I will say, the lighting is the lighting effects are pretty smooth. They're not bad at all. And I really like the lighting on the shroud. That's a nice effect. It looks like it's showing up fairly well in video too. And again, the motherboard lighting is very tame. So it's not really showing up very well. Outside of really the Republic of Gamers logo underneath the CPU cooler, that's showing up, and then the lighting by the power and the reset on the motherboard. I think the graphics card is hiding the rest of it. But I like the look of the board. The board, especially in this case, this is the satin black case. That looks really good in there. And with the lighting effects, I think if you get a good lighting scheme in there, it's really going to look that much better. But again, the lighting on the motherboard is very, very, I'm trying to think of a good word for it. It's subdued, subtle. Like underneath the graphics card, there's a little bit of lighting. And I know that there's lighting underneath the Maximus 11 on the next to the Halos, but that Halos ring is really going to overpower any of the RGB on the motherboard there, which is kind of the whole idea. It's definitely not as bright in there right now because I don't have the two. Yeah, the GeForce GTX. That sticker comes off. That's the funniest part about that. I don't know if you know about that. Silver, but if you look at my 1070, that's not on there. That GeForce GTX is not on there. They only put that's a sticker that Asus put on there because Nvidia requires GeForce GTX to be on their graphics card, and Asus wasn't putting them on there. So all that is just a sticker that peels off. You can peel that sticker off. I almost did on accident because I thought it was covered in plastic, and it's not. It's a sticker. But that's going to be one of those things that's a moot point anyway because that's loud. It's going to be a moot. It's going to be a moot point anyway because when I put it under the stop. When I put it under the water block, it's not gonna. It's not gonna. There's not going to be any lighting with it anyway. So yeah, that's the build. Yeah, water block height. Like I could put it and I could start setting most of it up, but then I would render my system useless because I still don't have the reservoir or the CPU block. The CPU block is going to be the EK Velocity. It's their new block that came out. Non-RGB, nickel and acetal. And I've shown the GPU block. It's the same concept. It's not plexi. It's not clear. You're not going to be able to see anything. So even if I did the vertical mount, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So to me, I don't think it depends. If I still have some sag, because there's some definite GPU sag there, even with the water block, maybe I'd consider buying a riser cable. Because they give you the mounting hardware. It looks like I think this is the mounting hardware for the riser cable. I think they give you all that, but I would consider doing a vertical GPU. I definitely would. But I'm very much looking forward to getting a custom water cooled system in for the first time, and hopefully nothing going terribly tragically wrong. But again, I've seen a million videos. I know, and with soft tubing, it's a little easier to do. It's hand tight everything. Don't, what is it? Finger tight, they say. Yeah, you don't want to over tighten. It's the same thing with the CPU block. Don't want to over tighten that. Just until it doesn't turn anymore, and then stop. It's just a standard 250 milliliter reservoir. There might be some regret there, but that's something that I can undo. If I look at it and I don't think that it's going to work, I can redo. But I think it should be okay. Because I didn't do the pump reservoir combo, and 250 is kind of like that middle ground. But again, there's space down below still, so the pump might actually fit down there. And then I can wind the tube up to the graphics card, up to the upper radiator, to the CPU block, back to the other radiator. Yeah, it's just a regular EK, I don't even remember what it is, reservoir. Not RGB, nothing fancy, just a standard reservoir. Nothing fancy on any of the stuff I chose. I didn't do anything RGB. I didn't do anything over the top. The pump is got, doesn't even have sleeved cabling because I didn't care. Pretty standard radiators. They're not real thick. They're, I think, the 40 millimeter radiators. So they're not going to take up a lot of space, but there should be plenty of cooling with that. The only thing, and I'll probably go to you with this, is actually setting things up to run correctly when I actually get it set up. Because it's a PWM pump, so I don't know if I need to do anything with that. I've watched so many videos on water cooling, but everybody gives like a different opinion, so there's a lot of variables that can go into it. There's zip ties in here too. I don't know what this piece is. They give you a little like metal, like aluminum Phanteks branded piece that you could put somewhere, because again, they're very subtle. There's this above the lighting says Phanteks, but you can't really see it if you're far away from it. So again, that's another one of those things. Phanteks didn't go over the top with their branding. It's very simple, very subtle. Guess we don't need this anymore for now. I'm gonna have to find a place for that. Never hurts to have rubbing alcohol on hand. But yeah, I think we could do more types of stuff like this. Types of streams where I talk about PC stuff, maybe do some look at stuff. The fact that I can push this keyboard up forward out of the way means that I can actually set stuff down over here and actually be able to do things with it. I just have so much stuff up here. This desk is just a cluttered mess right now. I have these little twist ties all over the place that I didn't end up needing. I mean, that looks so good. That backside of that case, it just looks so nice with the way that they did this, the covers. It just looks so much better. So I'll have to figure out what this is. These are my extra SATA cables that I don't need right now. That's how it is. I mean, you can't even see what's over on this side. Like, there's just a pile of stuff. And my bed is just not any better right now because that's where I pretty much put everything. I guess what we're doing while we're here, if you want to see. But these are going to be the 140 millimeter fans. These are the EK Furious Vardar, up to 2,500 RPMs. Probably not necessary. And these are, as was pointed out to be by you, Silver, these are the ones that I got in bulk. And these are the 120 millimeter fans. There's 3 of these. And I actually am really glad that this is a light colored fan blade because that's going to look really good with the Halos rings on them. So I got 3 of those. And then I've got some splitters that I can use. Because this thing has so many fan headers on it, this motherboard, that I can put all of the 360 fan radiator fans onto one fan hub, all the 140s onto another, and keep the rear one on its own, and kind of independently control them. And I'm excited because, one, these are high RPM fans, but I shouldn't need all that, but it does make me feel better about how much cooling I can get out of it if I need it, if I'm doing something really CPU intensive. But again, this is a delitted 8700K, so it shouldn't have temperature issues. And I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's partially why we're seeing temperatures stay under 30 degrees C. You know, they delit it, liquid metal, they reseal it. And I'm looking forward to the Vardars. I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I probably will end up swapping out the front fans for the Vardars regardless, because I don't think push-pull is going to work. I'm just looking at it, and a 40 millimeter radiator plus fans plus a reservoir, possibly the pump up there, I don't think that's going to work. So for now, though, those fans are fine. And it's a nice thing that they include. It's a nice thing when, you know, a case has enough fans, because we all know sometimes they don't include enough. And I can tell you right now, even with the fans going, the CPU fans are at about, yeah, it is, very thick. The CPU fan is only running at about 900 RPMs, but there's air coming out. You can feel it. So they definitely did a much better job with the ventilation on this case. So those are the fans that I'm going to be going with for the radiators. So I got a bunch of SATA cables. I got a bunch of RGB stuff over there that I got to sort through and figure out. But I think it looks good. I love the G-Skill memory in there. I think that looks outstanding. I think it really fits very well with what I will eventually be doing. I like the black and white. It just to me it just will go with anything that I do. That's one of the things I do regret about the initial build that I did, was going with the red G-Skill rip jobs, but that's because at the time my case was a red and black NZXT H440. Careful. And that was the color scheme. And then after about a month with the H440 and the issues I had, and then seeing the Enthu Evolv ATX tempered glass, I decided to make the change, and then the memory was no longer matching color-wise. And we all know how important aesthetics are now. But that's the plan going forward. We're going to put a reservoir up. We're going to put a radiator up top, a 360 up top, of 280 in the front, 250 millimeter reservoir. We have a D5 pump, an EK D5 pump. That's actually here. I already have that. Some soft tubing. I do have some of their clear cryofuel concentrate, but it's going to go in with distilled water. As you have said, distilled is really the best you can do. Which is really funny when I come across stuff on like a cable mod forums, the cable modder Facebook group, and people are like, distilled water? You can use that? And I just chuckle to myself, because a lot of people who started in water cooling, they started with distilled, and many of you still swear by it. So to me, that seems like the way to go. But I think that should do it. We'll get Windows installed, we'll get the drives connected, and be ready to rock and roll with this system. So if there's anything else, any other questions, any other comments, any other things you want to know about building in the Evolv X, using, or anything about the Maximus 11 code that I have for my motherboard, you know, yeah. Well, and I've seen, and to that, Silver, I've seen so many people who've used some of these real special coolants, and I've seen what it does. And yeah, you're still going to have to clean the blocks every so often, and you're going to have to clean the system, and you're going to have to flush it and redo it. But having seen what some of these fluids do, it's astounding to me that people, for everyday use, want to go with some of these. Like that Primo Chill View is the biggest offender to me. That's the one where I don't understand, despite seeing what it does and what it mostly do. I mean, there's been some people who have had no issues with it, but generally I've seen it just gunks things up. It's not for everyday use. But they saw it in a showpiece build, and they're like, oh, that's the coolest stuff ever, so they wanted to use it. Don't you play that with your headphones out.
No, I might forgot to be toys.
Oh, well, go charge your phone then. Careful. Drop these. There you go. Problem solved. Looks sweet, but ruins everything. Yeah, and I'm not that interested. The clear is going to be fine, because I'm going to be using lighting. I'm going to be using the halos and anything else that has the lighting effects attached to it. That's what I'm going to be using to get the light, to get the color in this build. I don't need, I don't need the liquid to also have color. Now, some of the UV stuff is admittedly cool, but again, I'm not really looking to do anything where, I'm trying to, UV cool everything, or UV, get a bunch of ultraviolet lighting effects in there and everything like that. That's just not the direction I'm trying to go. But I am trying to just make something that works. I want something that's functional. I want something that's going to cool. I want something that's going to last and not have any issues. That's why I tried to keep everything as simple as possible. Simple with the fittings, simple with the CPU block and the GPU block. I don't want that to be something to where I regret something that I did later down the road. So I went with, just basic stuff. No RGB, because there's already enough wires in these cases. Like that USB cable coming out of the bottom of the CPU block is obnoxious. The only thing I want coming from my block is the only thing I want coming from the block is the tubing and and that's it, the tubing. I don't want any wires, extra wires that I don't need. I don't want to have to be relying on proprietary software to do anything. I just want to be able to, like with Asus, use their fan control expert, their fan expert, to set my fans and just leave it, or BIOS. Just go into BIOS and do everything through there. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, because you can go real fancy with the cooling. You can go real fancy with the blocks and the lighting and the UV fluid and all the different the hard tubing with all the bends and everything like that. Or you could just do something simple and just it work. And if I ever need to get in and do something or check something, I don't have to completely disassemble and flush the entire system necessarily. So that's, to me, the other benefit to soft tubing. If I need to check something, I don't have to go through a bunch of work to get to the component that I'm trying to check. But that's the build, and I will be doing an AMD build here soon. I've started collecting the parts for my my mom and sister. They live in North Carolina. They need a better computer. I started collecting the parts for that. AMD Ryzen 2600. We're sticking with Asus Strix, the X470, and probably a Strix 1060 if I can get one here soon. I gotta order one soon because those prices are all over the place, and the Strix cards are the ones that disappear first. So I either got to get it from Micro Center, where I've seen it for about $350, or get it from Amazon, where it's been fluctuating between about $320 to $350, and then finish putting the parts together. I have a Meshify C case coming for them. I'm going to be building in the Fractal Design Meshify C. It's just going to be an air-cooled system. I'm going to use the stock cooler that's with the Ryzen processor, I think. Because I'm going to try and overclock their system a little bit, but I know you're not going to have a lot of headroom with their stock cooler. But we are going to be doing an AMD-based build, and it's going to be my first time working with Ryzen. It's going to be my first time setting something up with Ryzen, and it's going to be one hell of an adventure, but I'm looking forward to building in the Meshify. I wanted to get them something that they didn't have to worry about. Car alarm's going off. I wanted them to have something that that when they get it, they just plug it in. Give them a little boost on the graphics card, a little boost on the processor, and 6 cores, 12 threads. Just that's more power than they ever will need. But my niece wants to get into some more CPU intensive graphical programs, and this is going to allow her to do more than she's able to do on their current. The guy tried to sell me the 2600X because that's the one that's clocked a little higher, and I was like, I'm good, because I can overclock the 2600 to match the 2600X. And I thought about the 2700X with them, but the 2600 was $150. So that was a big big point for me. But theirs is going to be pretty simple. Just a 250 or so gig NVMe drive for their boot. They're going to have my old 500 gig SSD. That's what I'm going to put into there. And yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh, and then just like a 2 terabyte hard drive for storage for them. So they'll have a 500 gig SSD in there, 2 terabyte storage, and it'll get the job done. They'll be able to play games at 1080p without any issue, and they will be able to do anything, and she'll be able to do any of the graphical stuff that she wants to do. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a different company's case. Fractal Design, I've heard a lot of good things about. I almost got a Define R6 to switch my old build into, and then decided I didn't want to move all the old stuff because that was a waste of time. This was much faster. It took me about an hour and a half to remove the stuff I didn't want in there anymore, which is unfortunate that I didn't boot it up earlier and just undo the take the stuff off the 500 gig SSD. I left that stuff on there, and so now Windows doesn't know what to do with it. But I'll get rid of that, and then I'll reformat the SSD so that it's fresh for them, and we'll be off and running. And again, this computer has been, I do still have the H440, but I don't want to give them that because that thing really irritated me. But I still have the H440. There's a part of me that wants to get a Dremel kit and start tearing that thing apart and turn it into an open test bed. Because the structure of it's good. The structure inside the H440 is very good. But the rest of it's not. It's just not a case that I would not give them that case. Especially since I'm air cooling. I like the Meshify C. It's got that open front panel, and with some good fans in the front of that, it will do a nice job with an air cooled system. So, especially if I decide there's a part of me that wants to get like one of the Noctua coolers because they've got some good ones. Be Quiet, their new ones are good. Bulky, but good. And so I would rather have something where the air can just go in and go straight on through and not have any temperature issues with there. And you just don't get that with the H440. The H440, again, structurally very good. Very solid. I like the Meshify C too because it's unique. It's not, it's got that weird pattern on the front, but it's different. And it sets it apart from the rest of the cases. It's like with Phanteks, their front is unique. I like when companies do things where there's something that just makes it look a little bit different. And I like that it's not a large case, but it's got plenty of room for, especially an air-cooled system. It should be a breeze. The only thing that I kind of wish is that the Meshify C, I don't think it has Type-C front connectivity, so the motherboard I bought them has Type-C on it, but I don't think any of them use Type-C either, so that's really kind of an irrelevant point. But it's one of those things that I think companies need to start really thinking about when they're making these cases now. Is Type-C is more popular now, so like this has Type-C. That was a big point that I was interested in because the motherboard has a Type-C connector on it. So I was actually able to utilize that. But I like the Meshify C overall. It'll look nice. I got them the clear glass, not the dark. They have a dark tint and then a light tint, and I got them the light tint. So what RGB that is going to be in there will be very, very subtle. And maybe I'll actually have a use for those RGB strips. Maybe I'll put one of them in their build. Because I think I can weasel one in along the top. But that's about it. Because again, there's just no room here. This doesn't have the slot in the bottom like the other Evolv has. So maybe I'll give them one of the RGB strips. I like the Define R6 as well. The Define S2 is weird to me because it's just basically a slightly tweaked R6. But if people are buying it, then why not? You might as well sell it. I'm trying to think, there's other cases that I've seen recently too. Like like you sent me the link to a while back. Some of the Be Quiet cases are interesting to me. They've got some interesting stuff. But for now, we're working. That may be my next case. I like what they do, and as reviewer, I watch a lot of Gamers Nexus. I think he's a very to the point and a little maybe too harsh sometimes, but he tells it how it is. And the thing that about the Be Quiet cases is they're solid. They're very well built. They're very solid. They do a nice job with the construction of them. They don't have the best thermals, but that's because they're not. I mean, the name is Be Quiet. They're not gearing towards being the coolest. They're gearing towards silence. But they also they give you a lot of modularity, and that's a really interesting touch to me. The modularity that with the one we talked about, where you can invert the motherboard and change it, and that's really helpful for people who want their systems to be on their left-hand side. You can invert it, and now you have the open side on your left instead of your right. Whereas this one, this is the side that it's on. It's on this side. Everything is on this. Everything is open to this side, so it's got to stay to my right. But they've got they've got the larger cases. They've got the mid-size. Number of different variants. That's another company too, that they seem to refresh their case lineups pretty regularly. So there's a lot of revisions that come out. So I think they're somebody who they listen to what the consumers are talking about, what the consumers want, and they try to make those changes. You can definitely get good cooling in those cases at the expense of the sound. So I don't think you should look at it as it's a case where it's designed for silence and that's all it's going to do, because that doesn't seem to be the case. And it's the same thing, Fractal Design is the same way. The Define is more geared towards silence than cooling, but it's going to get the job done. And a thing that I don't think people think about is it is a nice looking monitor. Thank you, Zeke. Hi, Zeke. How are you? I have better audio today. My live gamer HD2 decided to work today. I don't know what is different about today than yesterday, but the live gamer was working and I got a video feed, so I was able to use my mic and it sounds a million times better. It's amazing, Silver, that it looks just like yours. It's crazy. It's crazy that you say that. But as to the thing about these silent cases and things that people don't think about, you don't have to stick with the case fans. You don't have to stay with the fans that are in the case. It might be a pain in the butt. Like, I'm never taking the Noctuas out of the front of this other case because I have to remove the entire hard drive cage with screws that are in the bottom of the Evolv ATX to be able to get the hard drive cage out, to be able to take the fans out because the screws are on that side. So the Noctua fans that I put into the front of that other case, they're never coming out of there. They're staying there. They're staying there until they die. But they're high static pressure fans. They do a much better job of pushing air in a restricted space, especially with that open modded front panel that I have. So something that people don't think about that they can do is you can get better case fans. You can go and buy case fans. You can go and buy fans that are going to give you better airflow. You don't have to stick with what's in there. If these case fans worked perfectly fine and I wasn't going to put a 280 millimeter radiator with EK Vardar fans on there, they seem to be perfectly adequate. I said I'm maxing out right now at 30 degrees Celsius, which is phenomenal. It's great. What is my... Cam, where are you? Cam's lost. I don't know where Cam is. Cam, it's there, but it's not. My computer is so confused by the change in monitors. I don't know where Cam has disappeared to. It was up here. I don't know where it's at. Cam is gone. I mean, Cam is there, but it's not. The NZXT fans are loud, they are obnoxious, and they don't respond to what you want them to do. That was my first annoyance, Silver, with the H440, were the NZXT fans. That was actually the reason I bought the Noctuas, because I was so aggravated with the NZXT fans that I said, screw it. I'm going to buy these static pressure fans, which made a big difference right away because of that restricted front panel. And then I'd replace the rear case fan, because it was on principle at that point, with a red LED Corsair fan that worked better. And then when I built this build, the Phanteks fans were fine. There was nothing wrong with them, but I wanted to continue using the Noctua fans, so that's why I ended up putting them in there. And then I realized they were never coming out. So yeah, NZXT's fans are terrible. Phanteks fans aren't bad. I'm actually very okay with their fans. They're relatively quiet. They do push a decent amount of air. In fact, when I wanted to get a white bladed fan to better show off the Halos ring, I just got another Phanteks. They work. They do the job. And the PWM fans are so good. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to use the Vardars and be blown away by those. But I mean, the bar is low right now, Silver. The bar is low. If they work, they're an improvement. Because the NZXT fans, again, they worked, but my computer sounded like a jet engine taking off at idle. And I couldn't get them to ramp down. And of course, NZXT's fan controller is pure garbage and doesn't respond to any. I would be in BIOS and I'd have the header selected that I wanted to adjust, and it just wouldn't do anything. And you had issues with yours. I remember you had issues. But again, I mean, I don't have any issue with the Phanteks fans. As you said, the bar might be low though. They work, and they're not noisy. Like I thought that's how every computer was when you first would boot it up. That it would just sound like that. It would just be like a jet engine taking off. And then I put the system into the Phanteks case, and it didn't do that. And then this one, it's quiet. Can't even hear the stinking thing. Which silence isn't a big deal to me because I can put a noise gate on the microphone on most program, like in OBS, and you won't hear the fans unless I'm talking. And even now, that's actually going to be the nice thing about the case being down below is even when it's ramped up and I'm doing stuff with the streaming part with the old build, you're not going to be able to hear it now because it's underneath the desk. So that's actually a really, really nice thing that worked out. I may end up having to pull that thing back out though to do what I want to do, but three out of the four went bad. Yeah, that's not good. And I remember too, with you, you had a long problem getting a hold of anybody at NZXT, and I had to actually kind of, I don't think that I did anything to make a difference, but I kind of threw it out there that I had a friend who was having issues when I was having my issues. It's one of those things too, to me, Silver, where it's a company that's doing so much right now that they don't have enough people to do everything that they're trying to do, because they've got the build service now and they're making motherboards, and they just did the new hue lighting that doesn't work properly because none of their lighting works properly and costs like $200 to get everything that you need. And if they just stuck to something that they actually do fairly well, and that's cases, they would be okay, because their new H series cases well, yeah, they're not making the boards, but they're selling them, and they're not very good. So I haven't seen anything. I know they've got new ones coming. They've been posting on social media about them, but I know the last gen wasn't very well received at all. And they just didn't do anything that really made it very interesting. And then their BIOS was really bad. And I saw a couple of reviews where a processor that performed really well on one board, it just didn't get the same performance on the NZXT branded one. So it's really interesting to me. And I feel like it's one of those things where they shouldn't have even bothered. Like, why are you selling motherboards? Sell cases. Your cases are fine. The H700, the H500, without the smart device, those are fine. Those are good cases. They're solid. Here we go. Sugar, coffee. So if they stuck with cases, I think they would be good. But yeah, their fans aren't very good either. So maybe they should rethink that aspect of their builds. But you know, I've seen some good reviews on their normal H500, H700. But this whole smart device thing that they did with the H700i, you know, trying to predict what kind of levels you need for your fans and everything like that, it's too much, and it made their case $200. And if you're going to put a $200 case up against a $200 case, it's got to do something much better, and that was just a waste. So when they came out with the regular H500 and the H700, that was a good move, because then you're just doing something that works. Yeah, and that's the thing, Zeke. The fans, they're just bad. I have the fans still for emergency purposes, but I don't think it's a 75% failure rate. It's just bad. I just don't think that you can sit there and continue to make something that's that poor. Maybe their fans are better now, but generally what I've seen is that the fans are usually the first thing to fail, and they did. in your guys, in your case silver, and in your friend's case. But they do the lighting stuff too. But the thing about their lighting stuff is it's so proprietary. It doesn't work with anything. You can't connect it to the RGB header on this motherboard and control it through ASUS. You have to use CAM to control it. And that's another thing that I wanted to get away from, was having to use proprietary software for each individual little thing. And NZXT, you want to use their cooler, you got to use CAM software. You want to use their lighting system. You can only use their lighting system, and you have to use CAM to control it. And CAM works better now. CAM is not... The fact that I can't get it to show up on a monitor right now is neither here nor there. It's running. I can see it running, but it's just, I can't... CAM is just buggy. And ultimately presents its own problems. But this whole... That's why I didn't want to do anything with Corsair, because I've seen so many things with Corsair's iQ that is problematic. And I didn't want to have iQ and AuraSync and whatever else running at the same time, because those things just... That was another issue I ran into when I first built the computer back before. Aura and CAM didn't play nice together, so you had to let one open before the other for both of them to work. If Aura opened before CAM wouldn't be able to detect the crack in cooler. You've got problems. So I always had to delay it. I like having AuraSync open to do the lighting, but then I shut it right back down. I'm not even going to install EVGA software because it's even worse than anything else I've ever encountered. EVGA's software for their cooler is just terrible. I'm just not even going to bother. It's just going to run off of whatever settings are in BIOS for now, and that's going to have to do. If I have run into issues, I'll make the changes that I need to make, but the less things running, the better is absolutely right, though. I have the bare minimum running right now on the streaming computer. I've got the preview of the stream. I've got the stream open. I've got OBS open. Spotify's open, but I'm not using it. And then I don't have a ton of stuff running in the background. And that's partially because Origin and Uplay were on the SSD that I took out, and it doesn't know how to find them. But I think it's fine that all these companies want to do proprietary stuff, but it's also obnoxious when you want to mix and match. That's why I do like that the G.Skill Trident Z RGB memory can run off of Aura, because you only have to use Aura. That's why I like that Phanteks stuff can run off of Aura. I only have to use the one piece of software to control everything. I don't have to sit there and download something from Phanteks. I don't have to download something from G.Skill if I want that route. All the lighting except for the EVGA cooler can be run off of Aura. You try. It's a lifestyle choice. I can get behind that. Streaming though, I had to keep on something, plus children running around, so might be frowned upon. I could be wrong. I don't know. The other thing that made switching this easy is because I knew I was just moving the tower from one spot to another, and then putting the new one in is connecting everything was a breeze. The only thing I have to figure out is if I want to, how I want to do the webcams, because they're still attached. They're still there. But I ended up deciding not to use them because I didn't want to block what I was doing, but they're still there. But they're connected to the powered hub that is on the streaming machine, and I think I'm going to have to leave that like that. Which means I'm going to have to reroute these wires. I got a lot of work ahead of me still. I got to put the side panel back on the streaming machine. I got to clear off all this mess that's all over the place. And then I've got to... This stream, I'm recording this stream too. This file is going to be massive. And then of course I got to actually set this thing up. I gotta do the Windows install and get everything connected, get all the drives connected, get them to appear, and all that good stuff. So still got a little ways to go. I'm not going to be gaming on this thing in the next 2 hours, I don't think. I'm just glad that the capture card decided to work today. Well, whether it works later today or again in the future is anybody's guess. I'm going to try not to change anything so that I can verify that it's not me messing with settings, but it working is much preferred versus what I was trying to do. The cam link is nice. I will give Elgato that. The cam link is nice. You tell him, Kylie. Dogs chasing cats. Kid yelling at the dog. This is my life. Got anything else to chat about while we're here? It's been fun. I've enjoyed this. Nearly 4 hours live. I've dropped 636 frames in 4 hours. But I think it's because I'm pushing my bitrate a little higher than I probably should, but that's a limitation of my upload speed. I could drop the bitrate a little bit and probably not lose. Let's talk about Zeke. Let's talk about how Zeke likes to, drape himself across you in Rust. Oh, that was bound to happen. Yeah, get all the games reinstalled. Which they're still installed on the streaming computer. They're still installed on there. I'm going to uninstall most of them. Because I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to use the 1 terabyte SSD to actually record to. Because that's another thing. I got to set up Windows. I got to set up everything the way I want it. I got to set everything. I got to get all the programs on there. I got to put Adobe on here. I can have Adobe Premiere Pro on 2 machines. I just can't use it at the same time on both machines. So I can't render 2 videos simultaneously. But the way around that is I do have a copy of Vegas Pro. Maybe I'll give that a look too sometime. But I know on this it's better to use Premiere because of the iGPU. But I got to set all that up, get all the games installed, get the baseline for all the stats because I think it's at its core clock speed right now, 3.7 gigahertz. And then I gotta load up the XMP profile. I've gotta get the overclock going and then see what the numbers look like then, and then compare them to what this one was able to get, because that's going to be interesting to me. I know the Cinebench. I know this thing can get a better Cinebench score, and obviously the 1080 Ti is leaps and bounds ahead of the 1070. I am looking forward though to getting all the frames. Zeke doesn't seem to be noticing that we were going to talk about him. But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for now. So I can get going on this, get my Windows key. I get about 90 FPS. Sounds about right. 14 at 3440 by 1440. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I don't even know what I was getting in Rust because for whatever reason the FPS counter isn't showing up for me. Even though I have it turned on in Steam, it doesn't show up anymore. So I don't know what I was getting. I didn't feel like opening up anything. I could open up the Xtory and find out, but I didn't feel like it. It's a little. I'm just lazy. I know it was smooth. It played perfectly fine on the 1070, and then I'll have this thing with the 1080 Ti. That's going to be ridiculous. is that I've noticed that with Steam lately, it's not in any of the games I've played. It's not showing the FPS counter for some reason. But it's not something I've really bothered to look at. It's going to be such a smooth experience. Especially since if I want to stream or record, I have to downscale it anyway, so it ends up being even more. As I'm now playing at 1080. I'm now playing at 1080p, which now you talk about bottlenecks with the processor, slowing you down a little bit. But either way, all the frames. But when I'm just playing to play, it'll be perfectly fine. The other thing too, I'm gonna have to figure out here is, do I keep the microphone on the streaming machine and just use Discord there? Or maybe I'll be able to, I can move it back and forth. It's fine. The cable reaches. The cable reaches just fine. That's the only thing that's annoying about the ultra wides is I could have played at 2560 by 1440 and streamed that way and downscaled it, but I didn't feel like messing with OBS anymore last night. So I just did what I had it set up for 1920 by 1080. But the nice thing about the ultra wide is you've got all the, I put the game in a corner in one side and then I just put the monitoring stuff to the left. So it works out in the end. But I got some stuff to figure out with this. I wish that there was a better, but it's the whole aspect ratio thing, because ultra wides are 21 by 9 and the other aspect ratio is 16 by 9. So really what needs to happen is, as you said, Twitch needs to start supporting that aspect ratio. That aspect ratio needs to be something you can actually stream at, which is going to be a bandwidth killer, but yeah. Because, you can upload to YouTube at you can do high resolutions on YouTube, yeah. But Twitch still has that limit. We're going to have a dead dog here in a minute if he doesn't leave the cat alone. Pookie. Cat is growling at the dog. Ogama, go lay down. Hi, Pook. Alright. I should probably get this show on the road. Get this stuff cleaned up. I have a mess up in here to get through and clean up, and an SSD to reformat, and files to make disappear off the streaming machine and such. All I gotta say is I will be forever grateful for USB 3.0. Yeah, have fun cleaning. It's actually not going to be too bad because most of the stuff is just going to go into the Phanteks box, which will then go up into the top of the closet. That's the plan. And then that'll take care of that. So I think that's going to do for now. It was fun. It's been 4 hours. Built a computer. It's up. It's running. But let's get this show on the road so I can get to using this the way that I intend to use it. I got a lot of stuff to install. A lot of programs. Got to get all my games installed. Got to get... I do like AI Suite. I like the Fan Expert on it. And I got some other stuff to put on there. So... And actually, most of the stuff is on the external hard drive that I have right here. So I can just pull the install files directly off of that. I don't even have to do a whole lot of downloading. But thanks for coming out. If you're watching still, I hope you enjoyed it. I will try to do more stuff like this. I'll try to stream occasionally. I don't know how well streaming is going to work dual PC from with this going to that and back. I don't understand all that much just yet, but I will do some looking into it. It's going to be more how reliable is the Live Gamer HD 2 going to be, because it's working today, but it might not be working tomorrow. I do have a splitter though that should help make things easier and allow me to. Okay. That will. So the splitter might. So now I know that the input is working on the. Because I'm sitting there for now. Okay. I'm going to be shutting the stream down. But as long as. So now that I know that the Live Gamer is actually doing what it's supposed to do, maybe the splitter will make it so that it's not so faulty in the future. And. Yeah, I'm with you, Silver. Asus is really. I really like what they've done. The A-2 in my X99 build. I've got the Maximus 11 code. Obviously, the GTX 1070 and the 1080 Ti, all Asus. And the motherboard I bought for my mom's build is Asus. So, I like their designs. As long as I'm not seeing anything weird with temperatures, which I'm not. Motherboard is at 26C, processor's at 30C.
Yeah.
You know, as long as temps stay decent, this should work just fine. So I'm with you. I'm really impressed with their stuff. And again, for me, it's tying it all together. The graphics card, the motherboard, I can control with Aura Sync, and it's just easier. I like EVGA too to an extent, but you know, I can't. I like free 1080 Ti's too. That helps convince you that, you know, it's something good. Hi, Kai. What you doing? Your face, where'd it go? Yeah, I like free stuff too. I like stuff that works. I've been using the A-2 for nearly 2 years now. Year and a half. It's been more than a year and a half, but. And no issues with it. I'm not anticipating any issues with this, but you know, we'll see. And obviously the 1070 has worked perfectly fine. Whoa, feet up. There you go. Good job. And so I'm a big fan of Asus. I'm a big fan of Phanteks and Logitech. My keyboard and stuff is Logitech. So I've got my preferred products. Corsair power supplies. I got my preferred stuff. Thanks for sitting and chatting though, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Anybody who's followed, thanks for the follow. I don't have any kind of notifications for this stuff. I don't have that kind of stuff set up yet. Maybe I will going forward if I'm going to stream a lot. We'll see. Maybe we'll give regular streaming a try. I have the technology to do it. So that is it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And Silver, I'll probably talk to you later. And stop stream. See ya.